Hello, everybody. I am so glad to be with you all tonight. We are going to be having Dan Salinger come on and talk about dealing with the unexpected. Now, the unexpected in dementia can mean falls, it could mean unexpected illness, it could mean accidents, or it could just be things that you didn't know were going to be a part of dementia. Now, if you haven't been following Dan lately, and if you haven't, you absolutely should be following him. He has over 2 million followers on TikTok and over 200,000 followers here on Instagram. Then Grandpa has taken a little bit of a fall, and they've been going through some unexpected stuff. So that's what me and Dan are going to be talking about. So I'm going to see if Dan has joined us yet first. All right. Signups have started for our big free workshop. It is the 3 key do's and don'ts of dementia. So if you are struggling with challenging dementia behaviors and you would like a ton of resources, a lot of demonstrations that are shown live or in replay form, then definitely come. Definitely come to our workshop. Sign up is in the link in my bio. So definitely come to that. I'm still trying to get Dan on here. I know he's in our live right now. So Dan, you're gonna have to accept the invitation. All right. So tell me in chat, everybody, if you have gone through something unexpected in your dementia caregiver journey, like your loved one or your client having a fall, your person having an unexpected illness. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna try Dan again and see what's happening there. All right. Alrighty, so tell me in chat if you have been going through something unexpected. I'll tell a quick story about something unexpected that I know one of my clients went through. So, oh, Carolina, yeah, that is a big one. I see 2 in peas in a pod says fall and quick deterioration. It was so quick. Yes, absolutely. That can be really, really hard. All right. Dan, you're going to have to invite, or Dan, you may need to, I guess, go in and out of your Instagram and try to rejoin the live as well. Sometimes starting Instagram over can help. Let's see. Keep saying he's unable to join. So Dan, if you're listening, what I would have you do is either turn your phone on and off to try to reboot Instagram, or uninstall and reinstall Instagram and see if that helps you be able to join the live. So while we're waiting on Dan to join us, hopefully we're gonna figure out our tech issues together. I want to ask all of you guys exactly what are some of the things that we are struggling with? Because again, we're going to be talking a lot about unexpected events, things we weren't expecting in our dementia journey. But also, again, like I was talking about with our workshop coming up, we're going to be talking a lot on challenging behaviors. So some of the mistakes that folks have been are commonly making with challenging behaviors, as well as just folks that are more visual learners. That's really what the workshop is all about, is folks that are really learn best by demonstration and less by like talking heads. Or all right, you made it.
I am so sorry. I had back-to-back podcasts going today, and I had a lot of difficulty logging on to the first one, so it ran over, and I had to use my wife's phone, and I ran over and got right back on here. I'm so sorry for my tardiness.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Yeah, it's only 5 minutes. So welcome, Dan.
Well, thank
Introduce yourself, I guess, to anybody who may not be familiar familiar with you.
My name's Dan Salinger, and most people know me on social media because I take care of my dad, who's 91 and has advanced dementia. And I've been doing it for a couple of years on the TikTok and on the Insta and YouTube, and I'm still doing it. In fact, he's in the other room right now with my wife. I think she's on some kind of live over there. And so as a result, my dad, struck a nerve with the audience, and the channel blew up. So people invite me to be on their podcast now. That's the benefit. So that's me, hired lawyer. Now I just hang around and take care of my dad and stick my mug on social media.
Awesome. Yeah, so I know we were chatting, I want to say last week about Grandpa. So I guess for those of us who don't know, I guess update a little bit on what's been going on with Grandpa that was unexpected. I was just talking to everybody about how dealing with the unexpected with dementia can be hard. You know, there's falls, there's unexpected illnesses that aren't always dementia related. There are behaviors you weren't expecting. So yeah, give us a little update.
I'll give you a little update. I was going to walk you in there. You could, I'll show them to you in a minute. But there's always unexpected with dementia. In fact, the one thing you learn is you learn to expect the unexpected and almost dread the unexpected. We had the latest thing that happened with my dad about 4 months ago. We took a fall, and so he's on video. The fall is on video. I can't watch it; it's too difficult. Video part, actually, the audio part is what's really hard for me. I have a little PTSD from it, and as a result of that fall, anytime you have dementia and you have a setback, a physical setback, it affects the dementia. It makes it worse. It makes everything so much harder. And so we were dealing with these physical problems that he had. He pulled a muscle in his stomach. You know, when we fell, we entangled, and I was on the street, and I was lucky enough to just get underneath him to prevent, you know, the hard on the cement. But in the process, you know, he kind of tore over me, and he pulled a muscle. And when you have dementia and you have stomach pain or abdominal pain, if you're, you know, especially for a retired doctor, he doesn't, that's serious stuff down there when you have that kind of pain. So not only did I have to deal with the mental aspect of dad, you have a pulled muscle, but you also, when you have dementia, if you're sitting there and the muscle is not painful at that second, you know, in 10 seconds, you forget that you have it, and then you move and you can jar it. And with a pulled muscle, you can re-injure that. So we were dealing with that for a number of days where I think he was re-injuring it, and so he wasn't healing. And I finally had to bring him into my room. I'm sitting in this chair right here. He was in this chair. I was sleeping over there, and my wife had to go upstairs, and my dad slept in here for like 3 nights, where every time I heard something, I'd have to get, Dad, don't move, you know, got a pulled muscle, and I'd have to, you know, jump up, get out of my sleep, and yell, you know, at 3 a.m, don't move. And he's may have just woken up, so it was really difficult. And dementia makes caring for any other problem you have 10 times as hard. Fast forward, he's recovered from that. Then last Monday he had surgery on his chin. He had to remove some basal cells. So he had a Mohs surgery, which gives you a giant, you know, they had to sew up a big thing. Well, people with dementia, he forgot that he had the surgery. He's got bandages. I told the doctor when we're sitting there, Dr. Eisen at UC Davis, if you ever UC Davis, Dr. Eisen's the best. I said, Doc, he's going to pull that bandage off. There's no doubt about it. Dr. Eisen's off. No problem. I'm going to sew it right to his face. So he had this thing sewed. He stitched it right into his face. And he's all, in 1 week, you can bring him back, and you can just cut that and take that off in a week. Well, that's all. And then put bandages over it. So he comes home. My dad's looking like, I don't know, the Tin Man, whoever has a long chin, Jay Leno. He's got this giant thing on his chin, and, you know, it's their first night. You know, I get up at 1:30 in the morning. He's just lingering in the bathroom just a second too long. I walk in. He's ripped the whole thing off, just broke the stitches, pulled it off, and there's this thing, you know. Luckily, they Dermabond, you know, it was Dermabond So from the very first day, I was supposed to be on for a whole week. Not going to happen. So, and I called the doctor the next morning. I'm all, dude, what do you want me to do? I'm all, it's not bleeding. But I don't, he's got stitches sticking,
Oh, no.
if it's not bleeding, don't worry about it. So for the last week, we've been dealing with him. The bandage has been gone. I had a TikTok video pulled because it was too gruesome, I guess, for the TikTok audience. And, that's what we do. So I have to, you do what you have to do when people have dementia, and it complicates everything. And any additional issue like a surgery or a fall or anything makes it 10 times as hard. Just a fact. But it also makes life interesting.
Man, that's definitely true for sure. I know I saw a few people in the comments who were asking for Grandpa, so I'm not sure if you wanted to show him or not.
Show Grandpa. He's I think Danielle's on one of her lives. So I say, well, you got to keep him occupied. I got these 2 podcasts, and she's over here.
Oh, I'm done on my live.
Pardon me?
Are you on your live?
No, I'm done. I just got off.
Okay, well, the viewers want there's
Mr. Daniel.
there's Grandpa.
Hi, Grandpa.
Everyone's talking to you. There's Danielle. There's Grandpa. So that's what he's doing. He's
Just
watching Fox News, but you catch CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, anything could be on there. Don't take too much from what's on the TV. Switch it up for him a lot. So he has, a little bit of change, not looking at the same face every day. And so we switch him between all the majors. That's my dad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely smart. And actually, if anybody is wanting like dementia friendly programming or like dementia friendly news or things like that, there's subscriptions that you can sign up for pretty inexpensive actually. That that could be a solution to that. If like there's some people with dementia who will get a little too invested in the TV, but I don't know if Grandpa's one of those people.
He's invested in it until he gets hungry or someone walks in. And by the way, I have to send you some kudos. I've watched a little more of some of your videos. You're spot on with what you're telling people and what you're doing. You're providing a really wonderful service. A lot of times you're talking, I'm sitting there, I'm nodding my head. Yep. That's one of the reasons I'm coming on your podcast. You give out really good advice for people. So thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, thank you for just giving people a window into what caregiving is like day to day. I think that's equally as important for, I guess, pivoting back to our subject, learning what to expect when it comes to their potential dementia journey. But yeah, it's so important to talk about all these things, because you guys can tell me in chat as well. All of us, when we think of dementia, we think of memory loss, but we don't think of challenging behaviors like refusing things like showers. I know you've made that in your TikTok, one of your TikToks, and falls and other illnesses and all that type of stuff. It's just, you just don't expect it. So I'm curious, when you first started this journey, what, if anything, were you expecting?
When I started with my dad,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I had no clue what I was getting into. I have no idea. I've got a post that the very first day I took him in, I posted a video the very first day, long before the channel went viral, before he was, people knew who he was. It was just me and my dad, and I'm going, hey, I got a little change in my life. My dad's moving in, and we were actually taking a walk. And it's one of the more controversial videos, because in the course of the video, we're walking out, Dad, what happened? And he's basically, I think I pooped my pants a little bit. And I'm, whoa, okay. Well, we'll get home, we'll take care of that. So just, so people know, during that video, you may not see it, that's the first moment I took the man in, and that was my first day. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell did I get myself into? This is going to be my life from now. I'm going to be, diaper man or whatever. And he was not wearing diapers that time. And I will tell everyone that was to this day, 3 years, I think the only time that ever happened. I took a little too far on the walk that first day. So but back to your point, you never know what's going to happen. And I don't think there's any way really to prepare mentally for what you're doing. You can prepare things like, if you've got a parent that is getting there, make sure you know where all their finances are. Make sure you know all of their doctors, not just the GP. If they have a cardiologist, if they have an optometrist, if they have an ophthalmologist, if they have, if they have diabetes, they're, if they have cancer, they're oncology. You have to know all the doctors. You have to know all their medication. You got to get your name on, with their health insurance. Those things you can plan for ahead and be ready. Have a plan. What happens if mom or dad falls, and where are they going to go? Are they going to go to Susie's, Jeff's? What's going to happen that night? Because it happens that fast. It's not something that, hey, in 10 days, I think I'm going to be ready to move in with my kids. That's not how it happens. It's you got a broken arm, or you got, a big bruise or a cut or a bump on the head, or a car crash or something. That's how you end up with them, and it's immediate. So any kind of planning you can do that way with your siblings, if you have any, if you're lucky enough to have what I have, which was, a supported family, that kind of planning needs to be done. Where are they going to go when that day comes? That will make life easier. But as far as bringing them into your house and preparing you to be a caretaker, nope, I got nothing for you. You got to do it. You learn as you go. I mean, you could watch all the videos in the world, and seeing it or hearing someone say it is one thing, and in practice, it's another. It's just like what you learn in school. Like you go to law school. It's nothing like practicing. Nothing. It's almost wallpaper. But you learn as you go. There's a learning curve, and everybody's different, and you just stick to it. I'll tell you what's really important is controlling their emotion more than getting the right answer or convincing them of one thing or another. It really doesn't matter. If you're in control, you're making the decision. It really doesn't matter what they think at the end, or what, where they fall. As long as they're emotionally happy and content with what you're doing, and they're not upset, and they can go about their business, that's what you need to address. Watch their feelings. Watch emotion and fear. Fear is one of the things that I hate the most. My dad can walk out to me and go, I don't know who the hell you are. You're my son. You're not my son. Dad, I'm your son. Those don't bother me at all. It's the times when he comes out, where am I? Am I okay? Did I have some kind of accident? You can see the fear. Those are the difficult moments for me, not the. And for every case, it's probably going to be a lot different. You're going to have to cut me off, Krista, because I will just keep.
No, it's amazing stuff. I think it's so true. You just don't. It's impossible to predict how someone's going to be beforehand. So I agree with you 100%. And I would add on too, as far as, let's say your loved one just got diagnosed recently, or maybe you're just seeing some signs, or heck, maybe your parents or your loved ones are just getting older. I've done the exact same thing with my in-laws who are in their 70s, which is you take them to an elder attorney, you make sure that you, like you were saying, have your name on all the medical stuff, decide all this stuff, decide what's happening to the assets and the money, make all those decisions ahead of time, have the conversations with them and ask them, hey, if one or both of you are, because it's parents, it's two of them, if one or both of you, need to have long-term care, would you want us to draw from, your house, get equity from your house, sell the house to pay for it, or would you want us to go the Medicaid route? These are all such important questions to ask, and it's so much harder to do when you're already in a crisis. Right. And I'd say the other thing too is build up that support system. Like you said before, you're so lucky to have your family that is so supportive and wonderful, but I would say you're in the minority, which really sucks. But so if that's the case, which it is for a lot of people, you want to ask for community help, friends, even distance, family, anybody, way earlier than you think, because what's going to happen is it's almost like like you're sitting in water that's slowly boiling. It feels not too bad, but then before you know it, it's boiling and you're overwhelmed and things are going nuts, and you are going to want to have that support system of folks around you. And you could think outside the box. Like the weirdest suggestion I've given people is, look, if you don't care about hearing about Joseph Smith, the Mormon missionaries will come cut your grass. They'll come help you clean your house. They'll do all kinds of stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of people who are wanting to help. It's just so much harder to find those people and cultivate that stuff when you're in a crisis. So
Yeah.
just do it way sooner than you think you have
That,
to.
that
So
wonderful thing. I love the Mormon missionaries. You're absolutely right. You can find help in the strangest places, and that's a perfect example. That's what they're trained to do, and they will help. The Alzheimer's Association has services that can help you. You can talk to other people who have done it or been in a similar situation. Social media, people like you. I mean, there are answers out there. If you look for them, it doesn't necessarily make that moment any easier, but there's answers, and it's, if you get past the difficult times, it can be incredibly rewarding as well. So yeah, preparation the best you can. Also, one thing people don't realize that is, was for me was difficult. Not only do you have to take care of their finances, right, and their living and their food, their day-to-day care, and their nutrition, those kind of things. But this is what really kind of blew me away. You have to make their medical decisions. So every time I go to the doctor with my dad, it's like, all right, so he's got vascular dementia, and with vascular dementia, we could put him on a blood thinner, which will certainly help reduce the mini strokes that are causing the vascular dementia. But you got to kind of weigh that with the risk that if he falls, which he falls a lot, and if he has any kind of internal bleeding, he could bleed out and die if he's on blood thinner. So these are life and death, serious decisions you have to make. Do I go after the dementia? Do I protect him if he falls? And that's not them. It's you as a caregiver that has to make these critical decisions. Do you put him on this medication, that medication? Do you if he's really agitated, do we put him on any kind of sedative at night if he's not sleeping through the nights? And what are the consequences if I put him on a sedative and he gets up to go to the bathroom and plunks down and falls on his face because he's not used to walking around with an altered state, especially someone like my dad who barely drank a sip of wine in the course of his life. So it's a massive responsibility that goes way beyond the day-to-day activities. And sometimes you're called upon to make decisions that you don't want to make. I'm not God. He had a motive, right? There's many, if he was at the stage of hospice, they wouldn't have done that surgery. Right? They just go, we're not going to do anything invasive. We're going to let it go. And whatever happens. And he's got to go in for another one. And, every time he goes in for surgery, it's a traumatic situation, and the dementia gets worse. It triggers strokes. Any kind of trauma does that. And I have to make those decisions. When, how long do we do it? When is quality of life not there to undergo the stress of another procedure? These are all decisions that I have to make in conjunction with my, I'm really lucky because my older brother's a doctor. So I just kind of push all the medical stuff on him. But, in the office and I can't reach him, I have to make that decision on the spot. A lot of responsibility.
yeah. Yeah, that's definitely is something that a lot of us don't expect, is that you're going to have to be the one making a lot of hard choices. So yeah, that's definitely really, really great to know for sure. So let's say with a fall, I guess, how has your family handled that since your dad had the fall? I know you're talking about the pulled leg and all that type of stuff, but has there been anything else you guys have been doing as far as managing that?
You know, we have cut down, like we used to switch, from my house to Mark's house, and we did that 2.5 years. And post fall, we had to stop that because at that point it just became too difficult for him to deal with two locations. And also, we're having to get up a lot more with him at night to make sure he hasn't fallen. As it gets worse, the responsibility and the time that it takes increases as well. So after that fall, in conjunction with Mark, we kind of had to say, we'll just keep them here. And instead of, you have them half the time, you'll just come and spell us. Like, we'll go out and you'll spell us. Or we're talking about the possibility of even hiring a caregiver, like for the next Mohs surgery, to kind of prevent, him pulling off the bandage like he did last time. But that takes having somebody sit and outside his door 20, from 7 in the evening until 6, 7 in the morning when he gets up, right? And so we're considering all sorts of other measures, and I deal with that in conjunction with my family and discussing, But yeah, there you never know what's going to happen, and you do the best you can do, and you have to adapt along the way. A lot of the strategies for dealing with people with dementia, we've talked about redirection on our podcast, on your podcast before. Don't tell him he doesn't drive. He has a fake set of keys, he's got a fake checkbook, he's got a wallet, he's got all those things. Whatever worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. It's a disease that changes. So today I may be, oh, Dad, your keys are hanging over here. Let me show you. It's got your name on it. It says Ed. And okay, very good. Well, tomorrow when I do that, it may be a very different response. Those aren't my keys. It would probably be yesterday versus today. But, those are my car keys. Show me where it works. Or, at times he'd take them and so I want to see it open the door, depending on where he is. Dealing with him changes from day to day to day. And what works today may not work tomorrow. It may work the next day, but not that. It's just every day is this, Forrest Gump. Dementia chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. And that applies every day you get a new box.
Oh man. Yeah, that is so true. And I think it's important to at least have a good toolbox of different things you can draw from because things change so much. And I know somebody said, yeah, it changes minute to minute. I know the way that I personally try to stay on top of the changes from minute to minute is I'm always asking really simple questions of like, okay, well, what do you believe right now? Or what's happening right now? What are you looking for right now? So I get a good sense of what the world looks like in that moment and can respond. They can be agile with the changes. It's not easy for sure. It's much easier said than done.
Most things in life are, but wow. And you're right. The that can change, but what you want to see, that you want to keep on an even keel is the emotion. As long as the emotion is fine, he's not upset, I can deal with it all. The repetition gets crazy, but I'd rather deal with repetition all day than, as we described, the fear earlier, or sadness, grief. Dementia does not rob people of empathy, meaning they can feel for other people, and they can feel grief for loss of other people. So to me, my biggest project every day is managing his emotion. That's for me personally.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so important because while dementia steals the information part, it definitely keeps score with folks' emotions, and all the emotional needs that our folks have always had as adults are still there, which is why, treating them like a kid just doesn't work. Like a lot of folks will find like scolding or correcting or maybe things they would have used in parenting just backfires big time.
Yeah.
Because their emotional needs are just different.
And it's parent,
Yeah.
It's parent. You just, and he knows that he took care of me. He may not know who I am, but he doesn't want to take orders from
Sure.
me. If I can explain it to him in the moment, he's much more likely to go along with what I'm saying. And that is a really difficult thing. How do you deal with them? Do you correct them? I just, and here's what the most important thing is, and I'll say is this: we can talk till we're blue in the face about what's the right thing to do and what's the right thing to say. In reality, right? I'm not going to do the right thing most of the time. Half the time that I'm interacting with them, I am dealing with something else, like I could be on this podcast and he pops in here. And let's say it's not a podcast about dementia where I could just turn the camera on him. What if I'm in a legal, something or other? My reaction to him is not going to be perfect. It's going to be something like, Dad, I can't, I get up, hang on, I'm sorry. And I get up and I, kind of push him out the door. I can't lock the door. TikTok wouldn't like that, but that's reality. Or during some of those moments where I am just at my wit's end with something else, or with him, and he's responding, I'm not going to necessarily respond perfectly. So being able to get yourself back on the bike, because when you do that, when you lapse like that, it doesn't really help the situation. You just make it worse. You're pushing it down 5 minutes down the road. You're going to come back. So eventually you got to get back on track and pull yourself together. And remember, okay, I'm dealing with someone with dementia. I can't deal with them tersely. I can't, say this is the way it is. It's just, that's not the way it's not going to solve the problem. Eventually I have to calmly, Dad, you live with me, you live with your kids, you're fine. You got memory loss. Otherwise you're healthy. You live here. We're going to have dinner in an hour. Can you just, if you can watch some TV for just an hour, we'll have dinner. I'm going to take care of something. If I can get to that point, he deals with it and he'll go sit down for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes if I'm lucky. But, if I'm just like, Dad, I can't talk to you right now, I'm busy, which I say that very thing a lot, it doesn't work. It might buy me 20 seconds, but yeah. And so the other message that I want to put out there is that caregiving is an imperfect art. You're not going to be perfect. Don't expect yourself to be perfect. You're human. You're going to have emotions. As long as you're not doing it during one of those moments of fear that we described, or terror, or, if he's grieving, or then you have to stop what you're doing. You have to address it. But, that's not the reality for most caregivers. You can't stop what you're doing on a dime and deal with every issue they have all throughout the day. It's an impossibility. We're not in-home care, right? And so he gets a lot of benefits for being at home. He's around his family. He's in a familiar environment. He's got love. He's going to be loved at 2 a.m, even when he's bleeding all over the floor. We're going to sit and do what we have to do. He's in a familiar place as opposed to a more sterile in-home environment. That might be a better environment to deal with them at 2 a.m, right? They may have the better supplies. They're awake. They're at work. They're not getting out of bed, walking into this problem. But all in all, it's a balance, right? And you do the best you can. And my opinion, I think he's in the best place that he could possibly be. It's not even close, but it's not, just snap your fingers and make it happen. And it's not like it's a perfect environment for him. It's an imperfect disease. Yeah. And you're not going to have a perfect environment. It's just not going to happen. So you put him in the best environment you can, given your situation, whatever it is. And maybe that's the home in some situations. You can't do it. If you're working and you just, he's at risk for falling, or he has to be alone, maybe for whatever in your personal situation, you find the best place to put them, and that's what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I know there's so many people who, before their loved one got sick, they promised them, I will care for you in my home to the day that you die, and then realize, oh no, this is not a one-person job. I don't think I can necessarily handle this. Sometimes they're handling it okay at the beginning, and then they can't handle it later. So I think it's so true that, where the right place is for someone with dementia really varies on the support you have and the resources that you have. And man, it's so true that there is no such thing as a perfect caregiver. I know I was literally just about to tell this story right before you came on, but I remember taking one of my folks with dementia to a grocery store to help him with his weekly grocery shop. And I swear I turned for like 2.5 seconds away from this man, and he managed to topple over and like hit his head on the grocery cart. And I felt awful, but I'm telling you, sometimes it is just impossible to stop that fall, or to just shield them from absolutely everything, or to give the perfect response. That's not, like you're saying, it's just not real life when you're doing it 24/7. Sometimes you just do the best you can with the information that you have.
That's all you can do, is the best you can. And it will be imperfect. But in the end, if they're thriving or they're doing well, you're doing a good job. Even though it's not consistently perfection, I'm probably a low percentage of perfection. And when I have a perfect interaction, I'm like, oh yeah, it doesn't. It might have fallen in a store. Literally, I'm remembering it now. And literally, I mean, I turned for 1 second to open in the freezer section, and I think he tried to turn around. He wasn't hurt, thank God, and it was great, that thing with Bel Air. They knew my dad, right? And so they were on it like, wow. It's like, get him up, and it was wonderful. But like you said, you can't protect them all the time. And I know for a fact that my dad's gonna fall, and I know in my heart that's probably going to be what's going to cause the next step is going to be a fall, and we do everything we can to prevent it. I had him walking around. We took his shoes away because he was putting his shoes on halfway at night and tripped. So we took his shoes away. Then I left him in his socks because it was cold during the winter, and he seemed to walk really carefully in socks, like small steps. And then it was 5 days before the Mohs surgery. If anyone saw what happened in the ear, I don't know whether, I think he was getting out of bed, and as he was getting out with a sock on, it slipped and he fell kind of out of bed and cut his ear. Again, not seriously hurt. The guy's got 18 guardian angels around him, but then now he sleeps with his socks off, which is different than it was before. You take steps to protect him as best you can, but tomorrow it may be that he drags his foot, and because he's got his sock off, his foot gets caught and he goes down. You never know what's going to happen. You just do the best you can, and hopefully he doesn't take that drastic fall.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the thing is, you definitely can learn things that make things easier. I know the things I have learned and what I tell people now has been very, very hard earned with thousands of dementia patients. So I guess for those who are part of Dan's crowd who may not know, I am hosting a free workshop March 19th through the 21st. The sign up link is in the link in my bio. It's all about
getting close to this, to sign up for that workshop, because I don't know if I said it before, but I'm always nodding during your videos. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want people.
No, go for it.
I wish I was able to sign up for one of your classes at the beginning. It's not that you're going to be an expert right after the class, but as you are going through the process, the things that you say resonate really well. Keep plugging. I didn't mean to do that.
No, that's great. Yeah. I mean, honestly, what I've learned over time, educating folks for dementia is that it's interesting how our folks with dementia, they need multiple ways of you communicating to them. So it's easier to tell them to do something when you're both demonstrating it with your hands, with your body, maybe with props, and saying it verbally. It's easier for them to get and understand versus just repeating the same thing a bunch of times. And that's how I approach my workshops as well, is that I really love to demonstrate so that it's easier to picture yourself trying it out. And like you said before, it may not work for your person right away, or it may not. It may work one day, it may not work the next. But the more tools you can have in that toolbox, the easier it's going to be. And we're not looking at perfect. We're just looking at hopefully not quite so hard.
Yeah, if you're looking for perfection, you're not going to find it.
No,
and caregiving, it doesn't exist.
Absolutely. Well, do you have any last thoughts or advice on dealing with the unexpected?
Be ready for the unexpected. Try and take it in stride. Tomorrow may be very different than today. And I will encourage everybody to sign up for the workshop. The more tools that you're exposed to, and that's what she's going to give you is a toolbox full of tools. You may not use it next week, but you may use it 6 months from now, or you may find yourself using it. You don't even realize you're using it. So definitely take advantage of the resources like Krista that are available to you, and just go with it, and don't get down on yourself. Don't get down on yourself. You mentioned the guilt. Don't feel the guilt. you can get overwhelmed by your own guilt. You're going to be imperfect. If you get down and beat yourself up every day for your imperfections, you're just going to wear yourself out. So be resilient, get back up. If you handled one situation wrong before, just change it the next time. They forgot already. So you come back and get them, feeling happy, and try it. And if you have the opportunity to bring someone in your house and you have the ability to do it, try it. Obviously not everybody does. And if it's not physically or financially or spatially possible or emotionally possible, I get it, right? It's not for everybody. And there's no shame in not in putting a parent into a place. If, that's maybe the best situation in your case for that parent. So don't feel bad. Don't feel guilty. If you can do it, do it. It is extremely rewarding. Their tools are out there when you can find them, and go for it.
Awesome. Well, Dan, thank you so much for joining me and for sharing your wisdom. I hope Grandpa feels better, especially after the most recent thing.
Keep doing better.
And good. And yeah, we'll be pulling for you. So everybody, thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you at the workshop.
Krista, and I'll see you next time as well.
Perfect. All right. Bye, guys.